Byron Coley.
All right. I'm going to read a couple of, I'll read one Christmas thing. It's kind of long, and then maybe I'll read another shorter one if anybody wants me to keep going. This first one is William Burroughs' The Junkie's Christmas, a heartwarming tale. It was Christmas Day, and Danny the car wiper hit the straight, junk sick, and broke after 72 hours in the precinct jail. It was a clear, bright day, but there was warmth in the sun. Danny shivered with an inner cold. He turned up the collar of his worn, greasy black overcoat. This beat Benny wouldn't pawn for a deuce, he thought. He was in the West 90s, a long block of brownstone rooming houses. Here and there a holly wreath in a clean black window. Danny's senses registered everything sharp and clear with the painful intensity of junk sickness. The light hurt his dilated eyes. He walked past a car, darting his pale blue eyes sideways in quick appraisal. There was a package on the seat, and one of the ventilator windows was unlocked. Danny walked on 10 feet. No one in sight. He snapped his fingers and went through a pantomime of remembering something and wheeled around. No one. Bad setup, he decided. The street being empty like this, I stand out conspicuous. Gotta make it fast. He reached for the ventilator window. A door opened behind him. Danny whipped out a rag and began polishing the car windows. He could feel the man standing behind him. "What are you doing?" Danny turned as if surprised. "Just thought your car windows needed polishing, mister." The man had a frog face and a deep southern accent. He was wearing a camel's hair overcoat. "My car don't need polishing, or nothing stole out of it, neither." Danny slid sideways as the man grabbed for him. "I wasn't looking to steal nothing, mister. I'm from down south, too, Florida. Goddamn sneaking thief." Danny walked away fast and turned a corner. Better get out of the neighborhood. That hick was likely to call the law. He walked 15 blocks. Sweat ran down his body. There was an ache in his lungs. His lips drew back off his yellow teeth in a snarl of desperation. "I gotta score somehow. If I had some decent clothes." Danny saw a suitcase standing in a doorway. Good leather. He stopped and pretended to look for a cigarette. Funny, he thought, no one around. Inside, maybe, phone for a cab. The corner was only a few houses. Danny took a deep breath and picked up the suitcase. He made the corner. Another block, another corner. The case was heavy. "I got a score here, all right," he thought. "Maybe enough for a 16th and a room." Danny shivered and twitched, feeling a warm room and heroin emptying into his vein. Let's have a quick look. He opened the suitcase. 2 long packages in brown wrapping paper. He took one out. It felt like meat. He tore the package open at one end, revealing a woman's naked foot. The toenails were painted with purple-red polish. He dropped the leg with a sneer of disgust. "Holy Jesus!" he exclaimed. "The routines people put down these days. Legs! Well, I got a case anyway." He dumped the other leg out. No bloodstains. He snapped the case shut and walked away. "Legs," he muttered. He found the buyer sitting at a table in Jarrow's cafeteria. "Thought you might be taking the day off," Danny said, putting the case down. The buyer shook his head sadly. "I got nobody, so what's Christmas to me?" His eyes traveled over the case, poking, testing, and looking for flaws. "What was in it?" "Nothing." "What's the matter? I don't pay enough?" "I tell you there was nothing in it." "Okay, so somebody travels with an empty suitcase. Okay." He held up 3 fingers. "For Christ's sake, Gimpy, give me that nickel." "Ha! You got somebody else? Why don't he give you a nickel?" "Like I say, the case was empty." Gimpy kicked the case despairingly. "It's all nicked up and kind of dirty looking." He sniffed suspiciously. "How come it stink like that? Mexican leather?" "So am I in the leather business?" Gimpy shrugged. "Could be." He pulled out a roll of bills and peeled off 3 ones, dropping them on the table behind the napkin dispenser. "You want?" "Okay." Danny picked up the money. "You see George the Greek?" he asked. "Where you been? He got busted 2 days ago." "Oh, that's bad." Danny walked out. Now where can I score, he thought. George the Greek had lasted so long, Danny thought of him as permanent. It was good H, too, and no short counts. Danny went up to 103rd and Broadway. Nobody in Jarrow's. Nobody in the automat. "Yeah," he snarled, "all the pushers off on a nod someplace. What do they care about anybody else? So long as they get it in the vein, what do they care about a sick junkie?" He wiped his nose with one finger, looking around furtively. No use hitting those guys up in Harlem. Not like us not to get beat for my money, or they slip me rat poison. I might find Panic Pond Rose at 8th and 23rd. There was no one he knew at the 23rd Street Thompsons. Jesus, he thought, where is everybody? He clutched his coat collar together with one hand, looking up and down the street. There's Joey from Brooklyn. I'd know that hat anywhere. Joey was walking away, with his back to Danny. He turned around. His face was sunken, skull-like. The gray eyes glittered under a greasy felt hat. Joey was sniffing at regular intervals, and his eyes were watering. No use asking him, Danny thought. They looked at each other with the hatred of disappointment. Guess you heard about George the Greek, Danny said. Yeah, I heard. You've been up 103rd? Yeah, I just came from there. Nobody around. Nobody around any place, Joey said. I can't even score for goofballs. Well, Merry Christmas, Joey. See you. Yeah, see you. Danny was walking fast. He had remembered a croaker on 18th Street. Of course, the croaker had told him not to come back. Still, it was worth trying. A brownstone house with a card in the window. P.H. Zuniga, M.D. Danny rang the bell. He heard slow steps. The door opened. The doctor looked at Danny with bloodshot brown eyes. He was weaving slightly, supported his plumb body against the door jamb. His face was smooth, Latin, a little red mouth slack. He said nothing. He just leaned there looking at Danny. Goddamned alcoholic, Danny thought. He smiled. Merry Christmas, Doctor. The doctor did not reply. You remember me, Doctor. Danny tried to edge past the doctor into the house. I'm sorry to trouble you on Christmas Day, but I've suffered another attack. Attack? Yes. Facial neuralgia. Danny twisted one side of his face into a horrible grimace. The doctor recoiled slightly, and Danny pushed into the dark hallway. Better shut the door, or you'll be catching cold, he said jovially, shoving the door shut. The doctor looked at him, his eyes focusing visibly. I can't give you a prescription, he said. But, Doctor, this is a legitimate condition, an emergency, you understand? No prescription. Impossible. It's against the law. You took an oath, Doctor. I am in agony. Danny's voice shot up to hysterical, grating whine. The doctor winced and passed a hand over his forehead. Let me think. I can give you a 1/4 grain tablet. That's all I have in the house. But, Doctor, a quarter grain... The doctor stopped him. If your condition's legitimate, you will not need more. If it isn't, I don't want anything to do with you. Wait right here. The doctor weaved down the hall, leaving a wake of alcoholic breath. He came back and dropped a tablet into Danny's hand. Danny wrapped the tablet in a piece of paper and tucked it away. There is no charge. The doctor put his hand on the doorknob. And now, my dear... But, Doctor, can't you inject the medication? No, you will obtain longer relief in using orally. Please, not to return. The doctor opened the door. Well, this will take the edge off, and I still have money to put down on a room, Danny thought. He knew a drugstore that sold needles without question. He bought a 26-gauge insulin needle and an eyedropper, which he selected carefully, rejecting models with a curved dropper or a thick end. Finally, he bought a baby pacifier to use instead of the bulb. He stopped in the automat and stole a teaspoon. Danny put down $2 on a $6-a-week room in the West 40s where he knew the landlord. He bolted the door and put his spoon, needle, and dropper on a table by the bed. He dropped the tablet in the spoon and covered it with a dropper of water. He held a match under the spoon until the tablet dissolved. He tore a strip of paper, wet it, wrapped it around the end of the dropper, fitting the needle over the wet paper to make an airtight connection. He dropped a piece of lint from his pocket into the spoon and sucked the liquid into the dropper through the needle, holding the needle in the lint to take up the last drop. Danny's hands trembled with excitement and his breath was quick. With a shot in front of him, his defenses gave way and junk sickness flooded his body. His eyes began to twitch, his legs began to twitch and ache, a cramp stirred in his stomach, tears ran down his face from his smarting, burning eyes. He wrapped a handkerchief around his right arm, holding the end in his teeth. He tucked the handkerchief in and began rubbing his arm to bring out a vein. Guess I can hit that one, he thought, running one finger along a vein. He picked up the dropper in his left hand. Danny heard a groan from the next room. He frowned with annoyance. Another groan. He could not help listening. He walked across the room, the dropper in his hand, and inclined his ear to the wall. The groans were coming at regular intervals, a horrible, inhuman sound pushed out from the stomach. Danny listened for a full minute. He returned to the bed and sat down. Why don't someone call a doctor? He thought indignantly. It's a bring down. He straightened his arm and poised the needle. He tilted his head, listening again. Oh, for Christ's sake! He tore off the handkerchief and placed the dropper in a water glass, which he hid behind a wastebasket. He stepped into the hall and knocked on the door of the next room. There was no answer. The groans continued. Danny tried the door. It was open. The shade was up and the room was full of light. He had expected an old person somehow, but the man on the bed was very young, 18 or 20, fully clothed and doubled up, with his hands clasped across his stomach. What's wrong, kid? Danny asked. The boy looked at him, his eyes blank with pain. Finally he got one word. Kidneys. Kidney stones? Danny smiled. I don't mean it's funny, kid. It's just I fainted so many times. I never saw the real thing before. I'll call an ambulance. The boy bit his lip. Won't come. Doctors won't come. The boy hid his face in the pillow. Danny nodded. They figure it's just another junkie throwing a wingding for a shot. But your case is legit. Maybe if I went to the hospital and explained things. No, I guess that wouldn't be so good. Don't live here, the boy said, his voice muffled. They say I'm not entitled. Yeah, I know how they are, the bureaucrat bastards. I had a friend once. Died of a snake bite right in the waiting room. They wouldn't even listen when he tried to explain a snake bit him. He never had enough moxie. That was 15 years ago down in Jacksonville. Danny trailed off. Suddenly he put out his thin, dirty hand and touched the boy's shoulder. I'm sorry, kid. You wait. I'll fix you up. He went back to his room and got the dropper and returned to the boy's room. Roll up your sleeve, kid. The boy fumbled his coat sleeve with a weak hand. That's okay. I'll get it. Danny undid the shirt button at the wrist and pushed the shirt and coat up, bearing a thin brown forearm. Danny hesitated, looking at the dropper. Sweat ran down his nose. The boy was looking up at him. Danny shoved the needle in the boy's forearm and watched the liquid drain into the flesh. He straightened up. The boy lay down stretching. I feel real sleepy. I didn't sleep all last night. His eyes were closing. Danny walked across the room and pulled the shade down. He went back to his room and closed the door without locking it. He sat on the bed, looking at the empty dropper. It was getting dark outside. Danny's body ached for junk, but it was a dull ache now, dull and hopeless. Numbly, he took the needle of the dropper and wrapped it in a piece of paper. Then he wrapped the needle and dropper together, sat there with the package in his hand. Gotta stash this someplace, he thought. Suddenly, a warm flood pulsed through his veins and broke in his head like 1,000 golden speedballs. For Christ's sake, Danny thought, I must have scored for the immaculate fix. The vegetable serenity of junk settled in his tissues. His face went slack and peaceful, and his head fell forward. Danny the car wiper was on the nod. So William Burroughs, Junkie's Christmas. Oh! And
Yeah.
well, there's a breathe stopping.
Yeah.
And now, without any further ado, we bring you from Chattanooga, Tennessee, the chattinest town in Tennessee, Frank Hurricane. Frank?
What's up, guys?
What's up?
Hurricane!
Hurricane!
We got this thing rolling, I think. Well, guys, it's a spiritual pleasure to be here tonight up on this haunted Zoom meeting in the holy bedroom of the Hurricane. Open up with a tune off the new record.
Yeah.
That sound okay?
Yes, indeed.
Well, here we go then. Yeah, I went to go pick up my records. We got the new records here. Went to go pick these bad bees up 2 days ago. I met my boy Ryan at the Corvette Museum in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And let me tell y'all, that's a psychedelic place, the Corvette Museum. They have this enormous volcano-looking dome thing that actually sunk into the earth a couple years ago. Into a sinkhole, and there's still all these decimated Corvettes in this pit, supposedly, but I didn't get to see it. Because there was snow coming down and stuff a little bit, flurries and whatnot. But I did, Chris Davis, I saw you listing, I was hoping you'd be here. I stopped off at Fat Moe's on the way, boy, you know it. And Fat Moe's is the Hurricane's favorite hamburger place in the world, I'd say, up in Nashville. Stands for Fat Mohammed's, Middle Eastern gangster. And it's only drive-through. And, you know, it reminded me, I was thinking about when I went down to Prince's Chicken. Prince's Hot Nashville Chicken for the first time. I went with Holy Emily, and I got this is the second time, I guess, I got the Triple X, the hottest they make. They normally don't give that to your random shrimp. But they gave it to me, because they knew that I wanted the psychedelic madness. And I ate the Triple X chicken. And I was crying. I thought I was dying. She almost called. She was asking me, should I call the 911? And I couldn't respond because I couldn't breathe and the shit was in my eyes and stuff. Oh, man. So I just said, she didn't call. When I rolled out of there, I was in pain, fear, and dread. Felt like I took an ounce of shrooms or something. And went to a Metallica concert or something like that. And the dude outside the place selling pork rinds, he said to me, what'd you get? I said, Triple X. He said, why would you ever do that to yourself? You're going to be shoving ice cubes up your butt by the end of the night. He said, well, you should stop by Sonic because they got those small little ones you can pop up in there. I tell y'all, I did shove some cubes up my butt that night. She goes out to big Chris Davis and Emily, man. And Holy Rosqueezy. Jumping across the creek straight through the winds was out of control. I need my fill of cold and snow. Painted machete man was out on the run. I wasn't scared of him, the cold was just fun. That moon it grew its way home. I need my fill of cold and snow. If it don't cool down soon, I got to go. I got to be where those eyes see winds blow. Sometimes you got to roll a cold and snow to bless my soul. Cold and snow. Cold and snow. Cold and snow.
Yeah.
Coley.
Yeah, it feels so good to be living in Tennessee, man. You know, this is where your boy's meant to be. I always knew that. And Chattanooga's blowing my mind, man. It's incredible. Tennessee's full of those crazy ass motherfuckers everywhere, which is why I love it. Never a dull moment up around this motherfucker, that's for sure. This mystical shoe shine and hamburger place that was right around the corner from my house went out of business recently. And they just loaded all the shit out and they threw it in this big ass to go dumpster, like mad, like half block long dumpster thing. And it was the night before Halloween, and I was rolling around on my bike, and I cruised in, and I passed by the dumpster going back to my place, and there was this homeless dude who had posted up at the spot. And dude is throwing an auction of all the stuff that he found in the dumpster. And dude's even made signs, big old signs for it. And he's just pulling shit out of the dumpster and slanging it. And he's making signs, yard sale and stuff. But it's just this crazy homeless dude posted up in this parking lot next to my place. And I was on a bicycle and he was like, "Come over here." I was like, "Oh, hell no." I kept on rolling. Got back to my place. Next morning I walked by going to get twisted tea on Halloween for breakfast, spiritual Chattanooga style. My boy Logan, and we're cruising down the way, and there was a dude out there who obviously was, family with the people that had owned the place that was helping clear it out. And we were like, "Yeah, dude, there was like this crazy homeless guy down here last night auctioning your guys' shit from the dumpster off." He just looks at me and he goes, "I heard about that. I came down here with my shotgun. I'm a preacher, but I'm a dangerous man." That's some straight Tennessee beauty right there, man. This song's about a town in Tennessee called Sneedville. went up to Sneedville in my whip, had myself a psychedelic trip. Ain't no place like Sneedville, Tennessee. I did some Yeti powder, popped a couple of pills. Sneedville's full of them holy thrills. Spiritual River, won't you help me ease my mind? Oh, still river flows. Sneedville blues can't take my soul. But that town's as corrupt as can be. I had a goddamn cricket, he was cricket OG. Born and raised in Sneedville, Tennessee. He say you can't trust nobody up in that place. Everybody's packing in them trees, it's laced with that mystical powder PCP. Oh, still river flows. Sneedville blues can't touch my soul. No. Holy mountain, yeah, you're my best friend. You set me free and easy. In the back of the truck, in the middle of the night, in the deep dark colony, the filled with light, laying back listening to a country song. Had a gasoline fire overboard fell in, covered in plastic, got the only second skin. Steve, you know you're off the chain. Oh, still the river flows. Steve blues can't take my soul away. Holy mountain breeze, you set my soul at ease, and you set me free from the city. But them Sneedville blues can't get me. Them Sneedville blues can't get me. Them Sneedville blues can't get me. Oh, them Sneedville blues, they can't get me.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys. Stoked to see all y'all on here, man. I seen some holy faces up in that strange wall there. Such a good time, man, and such a crazy time, and hope you guys are all doing well out there. The things that's going on. I was at the ATM the other day trying to deposit a check, and I saw this grandma in front of me. I said, "Yo, how you doing?" She turned around. She goes, "Look at my eyes!" And her eyes were like bloodshot red and sunken in, looking insane. I said, "What the fuck?" She said, "I think it's allergies. I hope it's not that other stuff. I don't even want to say the name." And I said, "Yeah, I feel you on that." But it's crazy times. It's about chilling solo. Sipping on Mountain Spring make you feel brand new. Let the water pass, twitch your lips, feel the good vibes coming through. Yeah, I got that lonesome mountain blues. Yeah, I got the lonesome mountain blues. That wind, that breeze, yeah, this so fine. Yeah, that holy mountain breeze, just like a fine wine. I got me a bottle of some reapers too. Yeah, I got them lonesome mountain blues. All I got, those boars and bears to keep me company. That's alright, that's just fine. I like to be free. Roll like water, blow like wind, that's all I got to do. Yeah, I got them lonesome mountain blues. Hell
Love you, Frank.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, guys. I know my holy family's watching. That's pretty cool.
I'm about to email you some food from Pierogi Mountain Dog.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, tell
I
Guy
got
Fieri
you.
I said what up.
I will.
When I wake, I hope to find those holy rays shining in to my room, my good friend. When I die, I hope to fly over the mountains way up high, across the pines, North Carolina. When I sleep, I hope to dream about you, girl, and that holy river, and that holy river.
Yeah.
Love you guys, man.
Love you too, Frank.
Hey, how much more time? 3 more songs?
Yeah, whatever you want to do, man.
Nice. We got a couple holy tales in there too.
Sounds good.
This one's about this holy puss, Lunabelle. Kicked the bucket, kicked the spiritual bucket the day after Christmas last year. Mystical, the meanest puss you've ever seen. But then she became loving later in life, and we became good friends. I got some Kentucky gentlemen I picked up in Bowling Green. Take a sip for Big Luna. Let's all take one sip for Big Luna here. And obese Bubba, the Maine Coon. Oh yeah.
The Luna.
Here we go. Yeah, I've been writing lots of new songs here, man. Tons of new ones. I'm not gonna bust any of them out tonight though, but next time I see you guys in real life, we're gonna have a blast. I know that. Luna Bell, oh Luna Bell, wild puss and straight from hell, mellowed out in her older age. Luna Bell, oh Luna Bell, we sit on the edge of a wishing well. It's up to you to turn the page. Sitting by the window pane, staying out at falling rain, wondering what it'd be like to be free. Luna Bell, oh Luna Bell, so damn old it's hard to tell. Lord, you mean so much to me. I know Big Jake Kirk's listening, man. I miss singing with you on that one, buddy, but we'll be doing it soon. So way back in the day, used to live with the psychedelic homie David Kirby in Marietta, Georgia, a psychedelic neighborhood by the military base. And we used to throw shows up at the spot. It was called the Temple of Love. My bad boy, one of my best friends, moved in after I left into my room. He renamed it the Temple of Hate.
Come on.
And next thing you know, we throw in a show. An Italian noise rock band come through. From Rome, I think, maybe. Psychedelic like Black Sabbath with harsh noise type of shit. Mystical Italian shrimps. I took them to the holy breakfast spot where all the waitresses is on crystal meth and openly talk to you about it while you chain smoke the cigs up inside the mystical spot. It's called Vittles, like a bootleg Cracker Barrel. It's all a store around you. You can purchase anything off the walls. Christian signs, mystical artwork, all kinds of stuff. It would blow your mind. We'd go down there and get like $3.50 mystical breakfast plate. Fill you up for days. Vittles. We took the Italian noise rock band down there. Shrimps was looking at the menu. Homegirl came up, just took a big old puff off a mystical light bulb out in the backyard. She comes in, what do you have? My boy, the Italian White Rasta, the DJ of the band. He said, I will have the pancakes with fruit. She said, what the fuck? Pancakes with fruit. She said, what the fuck? Pancakes with fruit. She said, what the fuck is this guy saying to me? I said, he's trying to order the pancakes with fruit. I was hanging out at the time with my boy Extra Cornbread Steve. He was my holy mentor. Mystical Shrimp lived way out in the woods in West Georgia towards Alabama, on the side of a spiritual creek called Stumblebum Creek, a place called Palookaville, Georgia. Big Extra Cornbread got his name, Extra Cornbread Steve, up inside this breakfast establishment, Vittles. We was up in the spot. It was his first time. And it was later in the day. And they was all strung out and going wild up in the fucking place. And I told him, dog, whatever you do, just get some, like, simple breakfast stuff, you know? Nothing they can fuck up too hard. He ordered the 3-vegetable plate. Some of that okra, I believe, was made in the early 80s. I told him not to fuck with the vegetables, but he did. And not only did he order that, he said, and extra cornbread, please. Methed out waitress takes one look at him. Extra cornbread! She brought out so much motherfucking cornbread. An entire army couldn't have eaten the motherfucker. And that's how we got the name Extra Cornbread Steve. He lived out in Palookaville on top of a holy mound of quartz crystals. That's why the song's called the Quartz Blue. Sitting there on a pile of quartz by the riverside, thinking about those beautiful round eyes. Sitting there looking at the setting sun and wondering where you'll bide your time. Oh, you're so far away, deep in those Blue Ridge Hills. Oh,
Should we turn it on? So you can see this?
Yeah, man, I got
Red
my
Snake River. Let's see a little bit of that Red Snake River.
Red Snake River, baby. Is that Big Paul? The Red Snake? Yeah, I recorded with those crazy Doberman homies this record like a year and some change ago. And me and my boy Big Paul went out to the river.
Woo!
We saw some snakes out there, some red snakes. But when I went to go film the Sneedville Blues music video out there on the Holy Oconee River, I went purposely at dusk to the spot where all the shrimps meet up to toss in the parking lot. And it's the local hookup spot for the naughtiest of the shrimps. And you back your car in, and that lets people know you're trying to toss. And me and my boy went down there at dusk for the magic hour of filming. And there was a spiritual Latino gangster on the bridge with more jewelry than an entire motherfucking jewelry store up on him. And I crossed over the river, I crossed over the bridge, and I said, "What up, dude?" I was trying not to make too much eye contact because I didn't want him to think that the orgy was about to go down with your boy. I was just filming a music video. But he yells at me when I pass about 10 yards past. He goes, "You gotta see this snake!" And I'm thinking it's gonna be 14-inch dong hanging out. But it was actually just a crazy ass red river snake in the water. And I said, hell yeah. This last song right here is about the Nolichucky River, mystical river in East Tennessee that your boy grew up shrimping on. In the Cherokee language, it means river of death. It's a holy, holy spiritual place. That track on my new record, Devil's Looking Glass, it's about this big old rock face on the side of the Nolichucky they say looks like the face of the devil. Nolichucky River's next level, man. I went out to this place called Dead Man's Rock. I'd always wanted to jump off it. For some reason, the day that I did, I went by myself, which wasn't the best idea, I suppose. I kind of learned my lesson. Went out there, out to Dead Man's Rock, where there's like this deadly undercurrent. When you jump off, it's supposed to suck you down, and all these shrimps get sucked down there and stuff, you know, never come up style. There's like skeletons just chilling underneath the water. I went out there. I think I'd been working at this hated pizza place called Buck's Pizza or something like that day. And I rolled to the spot, and I swam across the river to the Dead Man's Rock, which was this huge fucking thing. And I was scoping out the jump. I was about to do it. I noticed there was a little mystic path leading from the top of the rock back into some strange bushes and like crazy lichens and shit that had been growing on top of the rock. Looked like this pretty serious pathway, like it was going to lead somewhere. I didn't know quite what to think, but I knew that I needed to walk down this holy path. It called to your boy, so I turned down the path and I start walking down Dead Man's Rock into this psychedelic like lichen rhododendron jungle. Turns out it's actually a Canadian goose nest. These motherfuckers come out of there like crazy. Big mama's coming at your boy, trying to toss me, trying to kill me, humping me, biting me and shit, biting my sides and shit. Crazy Canadian goose, biting jump off the fucking cliff into the water. I'm swimming against these deadly rapids that have killed many a motherfucker. Many a hard-ass shrimp has died in these rapids. And I'm swimming against them. And I'm ducking under the water and diving back up, and the Canadian goose is jumping at your boy, biting my head and shit, biting my ears and stuff. Going fucking at your boy. It was about a 20-minute ordeal of me swimming upriver against deadly rapids, getting attacked by a mystical Canadian goose. Collapse on the other side of the river. Canadian goose says, "Oh, fuck it, man, I'm rolling out." There's just these Latino shrimps chilling there. They gave me a Bud Light. They've been watching the whole show and laughing their motherfucking asses off the whole time. They got to see your boy battle a Canadian goose while battling deadly rapids that have taken down many a shrimp in the river of death. So, this last song's about the Nolichucky River, man. You know, the new record that I got here. Order it from the Feeding Tube, Sophomore Lounge. You can get it from your boy too, but you know, that means I gotta mail them. That's chill as fuck, man. I got Polish shrimps hollering at me from Playboy magazine and whatnot, you know, so you know, order the record. They're finally here. Took a long time, many steps in the mystical process, but it is here. It exists in your boy's bedroom. So holler at us. Order the record. It's going to be sold out probably like tomorrow, so you best snatch it tonight. I love y'all guys so much. It's been great. Thanks to Ted. Thanks to Big Byron Coley. Thanks to everybody listening, loving, chugging. Much love to all you guys all across the world, man. It's a spiritual pleasure. I cannot wait to actually come and chill with y'all in person, in reality, and not on the hank. So guys, take care of yourselves. Keep it real for these next
Thank
few
you,
months,
Frank.
you know what I'm saying? And we're going to be throwing the fuck down. I love y'all, man. This last track right here called the Nolichucky River Blues. It's for Big Terry Turtle and Danny Cruz up in this motherfucker. If you ford that river, you might wind up dead. Many a good man lies upon that bed. And if you do, be on top of your game. See a young man sink down, now that would be a shame. Me and that river man, we are the same. Got those same feelings flowing through our veins. The forces beneath and us forces above. Me and that river man, we share the same love. River of death, oh, what a sight. I'd like to stay there every day and sleep out every night. When I stay at that water, I lose my sense of time. Lay there on the bank with my baby drinking wine. The movement of that water, that's the movement in our soul. Yes, we all are flowing at that river, it does roll. Like that river, we will never end. No, no, no. Just keep on rolling and blowing with me. of death, Northern Chucky, what a sight. I'd like to stay here every day, sleep out every night. When I stare at that water, I lose my sense of time. Lay there on the bank with my baby drinking wine. Oh, you got those holy Northern Chucky River blues. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey.
You're the best.
Oh, there's no squeeze.